Tony, can you hear me? Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yes, Commissioner Pinocci, I can hear you just fine.
Great. Vice President Johnson, you with us? Missing Tony and Brad. Vice President Johnson, are you there?
Johnson is present. Can you hear me?
Vice President Johnson, we hear you fine. Tony, are you with us?
Thank
yet?
you.
Good afternoon. This business meeting is called to order. For the record, the time is 10:04 a.m. The date is Monday, May 5th, 2022. I am Commissioner Randy Pinocci, and I will be chairing this meeting. Appearing with me today is Commission President Jim Brown, Vice President Brad Johnson, and Commissioner Jennifer Fielder. They are participating remotely, Jennifer is. I will ask that you stand with me to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Fielder.
I just note for the record, I'm not the only commissioner participating remotely today. I believe Vice President Johnson is as well.
He is, thank you. I was thinking about Commissioner O'Donnell. This is the hearing scheduled in docket number 2022-04051 regarding Northwest Energy's application for emergency authority to operate and acquire the Sleepy Hollow oil and gas system. The purpose of today's hearing is to take commission action on this application. First, the commission will receive any public comment not related to this application. Is there any public comment not related to this application online or in the audience? Seeing none, I will now take appearance of Northwest Energy Counsel and counsel for the receiver. Please introduce yourself. Please make sure the blue light's on, illuminated, and speak into the microphone. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Chairman Pinocci, commissioners, my name is Shannon Heim. I'm the Director of Regulatory Corporate Counsel at Northwestern Energy.
And receiver is Bob Barr online with us.
Good morning, Robert Barr. I'm the attorney for Eric Silver. He is the court-appointed receiver over Oz Air, Inc., which is a company in Ohio, which wholly owns Sleepy Hollow Oil and Gas, LLC.
Thank you. The commission now invites Northwest Energy to present its argument for this application. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Pinocci. So we are happy to provide as much information as the commission wants. What makes maybe the most sense to me is that the commission go to their work session and we be available to answer questions. I believe both the receiver, Eric Silver, and Mr. Barr are available for questions at that time also.
Thank you. Does the Montana Consumer Council have any comment on this matter? Doesn't look like they're present today. Are they online? Okay. Do staff have any comment on this matter?
Mr. Chair, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Commissioners, the only comment that staff have is that in reviewing the interim order proposed by Northwestern Energy, we would add that we would like to add that Sleepy Hollow Oil and Gas is an owner and operator of a pipeline in the state of Montana, that the commission is prepared to rely on the uncontested representations made by representatives of Northwestern and the receiver in making its preliminary findings of fact and conclusions of law. And we would also add that to our knowledge, based on representations from the receiver, that the receiver has worked to identify other potential operators, but Northwestern alone is willing to take on Sleepy Hollow. Finally, staff would recommend that while Northwestern has asked for an interim order for 60 days, staff would recommend that that time be elongated to 90 days, in as much as we're not entirely sure that 60 days will be enough for the receiver and Northwestern Energy to conclude their business. With that having said, it's my understanding that there are written public comments to read into the record, Mr. Chair.
Would you like me to make a motion for the 90 days or is that necessary?
I think, Mr. Chair, the procedurally, what would be optimal would be to take the public comments and then if there were a motion, that motion would probably be best to what I would either to be adopt the interim order as proposed by Northwestern Energy or to perhaps adopt the interim order as proposed by staff.
We could just add it when maybe we vote on it. Okay. The commission now invites members of the public to comment on this matter. Please come forward, state your name and where you are from. For the record, please speak into the microphone, and I remind you to ensure the blue light on the microphone is illuminated so those viewing online can hear your comments. Is there any public comment at this time?
Commissioner Pinocci and commissioners, thank you. I'm Tina Shorten with commission staff, and I've been asked to read into the record 2 public comments that came in, written comments that came in. So I'm going to do that now. First one we received is from Fergus County Commissioners, and they say, letter of support. Honorable Chairman Brown and Public Service Commissioners, Fergus County Board of County Commissioners urge your expedited approval for Northwestern Energy's request for emergency interim authority to operate and acquire the insolvent Sleepy Hollow oil and gas system pending a full review of the acquisition application. While we appreciate the Commissioner's efforts to identify a qualified operator for the insolvent utility, we fear further delay in this matter will place customers and the surrounding communities at risk. Without a qualified operator, regulators must shutter the Sleepy Hollow system due to the safety concerns associated with an unmanaged gas system. Difficulty of restoring the system once decommissioned would be daunting and costly. In this instance, Sleepy Hollow's 134 customers, including the Winifred School, would permanently lose access to natural gas service. It is imperative that the commission take immediate action to preserve the safety and stability of the Sleepy Hollow system while maintaining essential service for customers. Also, Northwestern is uniquely positioned through its technical expertise and nearby infrastructure to continue the operation of the Sleepy Hollow system for the benefit of the customers. Therefore, the Fergus County Commissioners strongly urge you to do the right thing to mitigate the situation. Sincerely, and then it's signed by Ross Butcher, District 1, Sandy Youngbauer, District 2, and Carl Selstead, District 3. So that's the first one.
Thank you.
And the second one is from Senator Dan Bartel. And he says, Honorable Chairman Brown and Public Service Commissioners, I write today to urge your approval for Northwestern Energy's request for emergency authority to operate and acquire the defunct Sleepy Hollow oil and gas system. The commission must take immediate action to preserve the safety and stability of the Sleepy Hollow system while maintaining essential service for customers. While I appreciate the commission's efforts to identify a qualified operator for the defunct utility, I fear further delay in this matter may place customers and the surrounding communities at risk. Without a qualified operator, regulators must shutter the Sleepy Hollow system due to the safety concerns associated with an unmanaged gas system. In this instance, Sleepy Hollow's 134 customers would permanently lose access to natural gas service due to the practical and financial difficulties of restoring the system. Moreover, it would likely be more cost-effective to construct a brand new utility once decommissioned than to restart the existing system. For this reason, I urge the commission and staff to grant Northwestern's application for interim authority to operate the Sleepy Hollow system pending a full review of the acquisition application. Northwestern is uniquely positioned through its technical expertise and nearby infrastructure to continue the operation of the Sleepy Hollow system for the benefit of customers. Meanwhile, the inherent safety risks of allowing the system to go unmanaged, combined with the difficulty of restoring the system once decommissioned, demand emergency action on the part of the commission. Though utility service for 134 rural customers may seem like a minor issue to the commission, it is no small matter to my constituents who depend on natural gas for heat and hot water in their daily lives. I urge you to keep these customers in mind as you work towards a speedy resolution in this proceeding. Sincerely, Senator Dan Bartel.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any public comment online? Okay. Thank you for your public comment. I now invite questions from any of the commissioners. Commissioner Fielder, would you like to go first? Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A question for Ben Reed, please, our Chief Legal Counsel.
Mr. Chair, Madam Commissioner, please.
Thank you,
ahead.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Reed, you had suggested that the staff is recommending to change the limited operating agreement term to a 90-day period instead of a 60-day period. And my question goes to the actual limited operating agreement that Northwestern Energy and the receivership for Sleepy Hollow have signed already, which states the date of June 30th of 2022 is the effective termination date of this operating agreement. So I'm just cautious about not rendering an order from the commission that's outside of what's been agreed to by these parties. Can you please address that in terms of your recommendation to go to a 90-day period? Did you consider that, or is that an important factor that we need to consider before changing the dates on this thing?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Fielder, that's an excellent question. What I in fact did was my 90-day suggestion was simply in place to allow the parties to come to whatever sort of final solution, if I may, that was most appropriate for them, and to give them the room in which to do so. I think that I don't think it changes the terms of the limited operating agreement proposed by the parties, and it doesn't change the opportunity for the parties to come together and have a separate meeting of the minds to extend the terms of that limited operating agreement. It simply allows the commission to, as it were, not have to intervene in the process for the next 90 days.
Okay, thank you for the answer. I would like to ask the same question of Ms. Heim, please.
Chairman Pinochi, Commissioner Fielder, thank you for that opportunity. In my mind, the 90 days is actually a good idea. It gives the commission a little bit of breathing room and doesn't require the parties to come back to the commission if we need a little bit of extra time. It would not change the underlying agreement. But the parties in their private contracting arrangement, we can always extend by an easy amendment if the circumstance warrant, and it looks like we are actually getting towards an asset purchase agreement, but just need a little bit more time.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pose the same question to the legal counsel representing Sleepy Hollow at this time, or the receiver for Sleepy Hollow, Mr. Barr. Do you have any objections to extending the period to 90 days?
No, thank you to the commission. We have no objection. And we'll meet with Ms. Heim and Attorney Heim to perhaps interlineate, edit, or sign an addendum to the agreement for the additional 90 days. We are hoping, for the record, that an overall asset purchase agreement, a final agreement, be done long before that time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all the questions I had at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner Fielder. Vice President Johnson, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions. I do, if I might, though, want to assure Senator Bartel that certainly I think all five of the commissioners fully grasp the importance of this issue to his constituents, and that we welcome the opportunity to move expeditiously here, and that we don't look at it as some small unimportant matter. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Johnson. President Jim Brown, any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for Ms. Heim. I'm looking at your application submitted in this matter, and I just want to walk through what exactly process is you're requesting from the commission. So as I see it, there's basically two requests of the commission. One is for the emergency order, allowing you to provide, you being Northwestern Energy, to provide operational assistance for 60 to 90 days, apparently, is what we're discussing at this point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the second request, as I see from your application, though, is you're requesting an expedited process for the commission to find that Northwestern Energy's acquisition of Sleepy Hollows is in the public, Sleepy Hollows assets is in the public interest. There's no enforcement activity being brought against Northwestern and for Northwestern to recover its operating and maintenance costs related to the system, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you envision that process working moving forward?
So Chairman Panochi, President Brown, I fully recognize that the procedure that we are proposing is unusual in the extreme, but perhaps just as unusual as the situation we find ourselves. I would propose that we have a factual hearing for the commission to take evidence in a live hearing rather than doing pre-filed. We just don't have time for it. And so I would request that the commission actually get that hearing on the schedule now. Hopefully that we will have an asset purchase agreement negotiated and finalized by that time. But even if we don't, I think we'll be far enough down the line in the next 6-7 weeks that having a live hearing will make all the sense in the world. So the commission has all the facts that we can better articulate exactly what we're requesting and what the commission would be finding. We have delayed the vast majority of any rate relief that we would look for to a future proceeding. And so we have tried to make this as narrow of an ask as humanly possible. I don't expect that we'll be able to fully articulate what those operation and maintenance costs might be over the long term, but the commission, by finding that the acquisition is in the public interest, I think makes a presumption that those expenses are valid and in the public interest, but will be, of course, subject to further commission prudence review, which is a higher standard. But it would be if there's anything wrong with the system, and the work that we need to do to sound the system in conjunction with the commission staff, the pipeline safety staff, who has been very involved in this project. So I do recognize that is an incredibly unusual procedure, but the commission has the discretion to do it. And I think if ever there was a circumstance where it's important to get finality for these customers and these communities, this is it.
No, I appreciate that position. I'm certainly going to support the emergency authority today. So let's talk about timing for the second part of Northwestern Energy's request. Is the timing that we're working on for the live hearing portion of this, which is what you're proposing, are you proposing to do that also within a 90 or 60-day period then?
Absolutely. So that the commission can take action within that time frame.
Okay, I noticed also in the application that there was reference to the City Council of Winifred taking action to grant Northwestern a natural gas franchise. Are you familiar with that?
I am.
Can you tell us more about the circumstances of that?
Yes. So Sleepy Hollow has been a distressed utility for some time, and apparently its franchise with the City of Winifred lapsed approximately 18 months ago. And so they've been operating without a franchise, which it has legal consequences because the franchise is what grants them the ability to be in the right of way and to provide, service in, through those actual pipes. But the City of Winifred had brought that issue forward several times without response because, as we have all discussed previously, there really wasn't anyone running the show in a position to put forward that franchise. Attached to our application is a letter from the City Council of Winifred. We have reached out to them. I've personally met with the mayor and the city clerk. And we've put the franchise in front of them and they intend to pass it, but they have to go through their process. And we fully support them going through their legal process. So I believe the franchise has been heard once. It will be heard one more time before they can vote on it. So, but we are not concerned about receiving it. It should be to us sooner or later, probably in the next few weeks.
And I appreciate that answer, not the least of which is you talked about the legal ramifications of that. So is the grant of a natural gas franchise to Northwest Energy, is that like a condition precedent to fully bringing the system into Northwest Energy's asset base?
Yes, I would say to execute and close on an asset purchase agreement, the franchise would be a condition precedent, that we would want that in place to make sure that there aren't any legal hiccups, which is why it was one of the first things that we tried to address. Plus, we just really wanted to talk to the folks on the ground and make sure that our participation was welcome and that, we didn't want to run afoul of the community. And we really appreciate the welcome that we've received and that our folks have had on the ground in the intervening time.
And I know that Northwest Energy is owed some money by someone at this point for services provided to Sleepy Hollow. I presume that those monies owed to Northwest Energy would be covered in any hearing in this matter?
Yes and no. So it's a two-step process. What is owed to Northwestern is for the wholesale gas that has been provided by contract to Sleepy Hollow and has been unpaid. I believe the last time we were paid for gas was September. So it did put us in an awkward position too, because normally we would not continue to provide gas to a customer that was that far in arrears. But knowing the practical ramifications of not providing the gas, we have continued to do so. Our arrangement with the receiver is that we will do a meter read to allow him to bill and get some liquidity into Sleepy Hollow to settle its many debts, including the one to Northwestern. Anything that is not recovered by Northwestern for its wholesale gas and the operating services provided under the limited operating agreement, we would seek at a future time to recover in a rate review. Those are costs that we believe are in the public interest and appropriate flow through costs to recover.
Thank you for that. As you noted, Simon, this is an unusual situation, maybe novel to the history of the Public Service Commission, as near as we can tell. It was noted, I think already, that MCC has not made an appearance today. It's my understanding, however, that conversations were had with MCC prior to the submission of this application.
Yes, so I provided a draft of the application to Mr. Brown, the MCC Jason Brown, in advance, not a lot in advance, to be fair. And because we were all in the same place in hearing last week before I filed it, I perhaps harassed him about taking a position and at least not objecting so that I could represent that in the application to the commission, but he was not in a position to voice an opinion or take a position. So I had hoped that he would be here today, but he must have been called away.
So what I'm hearing from your answers were not to take, commission is not to take anything away from the fact that MCC has not appeared today, either that it supports or opposes this application, correct?
I would argue that if they had a strong objection to at least the operating authority, that they would be here to say so.
Noted. All right, I think that's the end of my questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, President Brown. The question I'd have for Northwest Energy is, if we grant this today, how soon will we have boots on the ground to take phone calls and monitor the system? What's your thoughts there?
Thank you, Chairman Pinochi. This is actually, I really appreciate you asking that question because I'm a regulatory lawyer. So, I've been very focused on this process. It has been quite an education to me about, okay, what actually happens next. And so I would actually like to share a little bit of that with you and give you the benefit of the education that the Northwestern staff has provided to me. So we will have boots on the ground and be taking calls on the Northwestern line as soon as the commission votes. We have uploaded onto our website information specific to Sleepy Hollow that, if you Google Sleepy Hollow and Northwestern Energy, it should come up, which will provide an FAQ section for customers and for the public officials in that area. We are not taking billing responsibility, but we are providing backup customer service. So if there's an emergency, if customers have questions about their service, if there's an emergency disconnect, we will do that, but we will not be doing reconnections because we don't have a relationship with that customer yet. Excuse me. So our folks in Lewistown, which is approximately an hour away, are prepared to be providing service to Winifred and the other communities that Sleepy Hollow currently serves immediately. And we are already receiving locate requests and some construction requests, although we're deferring any construction until it's a Northwestern asset, if and when that happens, so that any construction that's done, any customers that are added are done pursuant to the Northwestern tariff, which is much more detailed and I think transparent to customers. I mean, I attached to the application the sum total of the Sleepy Hollow tariff, which is one page. I did not attach the Northwestern tariff, which is many more than one page. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I've been here at the commission and been the face of this to the commission, but honestly, there's a lot happening under the surface that I can take no credit for. There are a lot of people working really hard to make sure that this customer experience is as seamless as humanly possible, recognizing there are going to be some bumps in the road. And these customers are going to get bills for the first time since December from the receiver on behalf of Sleepy Hollow. That is, of course, going to create some consternation in the community, although our understanding is that people are so relieved that there seems to be a path forward that they'll navigate the issues with bills.
Is it fair to say I can tell the public within the next 24 hours, there'll be boots on the ground?
There will be boots near the ground. So our folks won't be in Winifred unless there's a need for them to be there. So we're not moving personnel into town, but we will, as soon as the commission approves it, Northwestern will be on the watch.
Is it safe to say in the next 24 hours, if someone calls in with an emergency, there'll be someone to receive a phone call?
Absolutely.
And act on that emergency
Absolutely.
Or concern that might come across?
I would honestly say within the hour. As soon as you vote, if we get a call and we're out, because now we're contractually obligated once you give us the authority. If there is an accident, if there's an emergency, somebody smells gas, we get a call, we'll take that call immediately.
Thank you. For the record, this is an extraordinary event, really history in the making. This is, in my opinion, never happened in Montana's history. I'd like to review a protocol that could be a little quicker to act if this was ever to happen in Montana again. And I want to thank the staff of the Public Service Commission and Northwest Energy for working together to move so quickly on this. I'm proud of all of you. And I want to say thank you on behalf of the people of Winifred and the state of Montana. This is, I can't tell you how concerned I've been and how many trips I've made there. And I just want to thank everybody. At this point,
Chairman Panochi, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but this seems like a good moment to recognize Noah Davis, who is the manager, the Lewistown District Manager, who is responsible for those boots on the ground and has put in an extraordinary amount of hours with the Sleepy Hollow previous employee and figuring out the condition of the system and working with the commission's pipeline safety staff, who also should be commended. They've done extraordinary work.
well, I certainly want to thank them. Again, I'm glad that this went as well as it could have went without any event. At this point, I move to grant Northwest Earn's request for authority to act as the operator of Sleepy Hollow system for a period of 90 days pursuant to Sleepy Hollow's existing tariff.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Need discussion?
Oh, any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Commissioner Fielder.
I just want to be clear on the motion. So Northwestern has a proposed order before us. And so it doesn't sound like the motion is to approve the proposed interim order, but it's just very specific to the language that you just moved.
Well,
Or is the motion
granting
to,
the authority to act as the operator to Sleepy Hollow system? That is the motion.
I guess a question for the president.
I will yield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President. So I was looking at this and thinking that it may be prudent to approve Northwestern's proposed interim order. And I think the key to that order is found in paragraphs 12, 13, and 14. And 14 is an important paragraph, particularly because it reserves the right to the commission to come back and make modifications, as further information comes in. So I thought that order was well written, and I'd like to ask your opinion on whether we should approve that order with just the one amendment, as Commissioner Panochi mentioned, going to 90 days instead of 60 days, which is in that draft order.
My response to that would be, I think that's probably the best course forward. So Commissioner Panochi, Chairman Panochi, if you'd like to withdraw and then just move to adopt the proposed order with the amendment of 60 days to 90 days.
Yeah, I will withdraw, and would encourage Commissioner Fielder to make a motion.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd be glad to do that. So I move to approve the proposed interim order submitted by Northwestern Energy with one change, and that would be that the term of the limited operating agreement would be 90 days instead of 60 days.
I'll second. Any discussion?
The only question I have for legal staff is that there's a proposed finding in the order that talks about MCC's position. And while it may be true that MCC did not per se object to the request for emergency relief, they did not appear or state anything to the same. So it might be prudent to strike that portion of the order when it's released or prior to its release. So you could do that as an administrative matter.
Mr. Chairman, President Brown, legal staff concurs.
Other than that, I think Chairman Panochi stated it well in his questioning and his remarks. This is a perhaps once in a history event for the Montana Public Service Commission. Emergency relief is certainly warranted here, not the least of which is that it's in the public interest to grant this order such that the persons that receive services from the former Sleepy Hollow are assured safety of their systems. And the second thing is, of course, is that it's in the public interest to grant this order because if you look back at the history of this matter, with the development of Sleepy Hollow, numerous customers changed their systems in order to adapt to the Sleepy Hollow system, and it would be very costly for those that are on the system to change back to propane. So I will support this motion because it's in the public interest to do so. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Fielder again.
Yes.
I just note that somebody's got their mute button unmuted, and there's some background noise coming in from some traffic or something, so they might put themselves on mute. But my comment, Mr. Chairman, is that I want to thank you for being on top of this early. I know that you worked very hard on it and brought this, lit the fire under the commission and the staff here to bring this to the foreground as quickly as possible. I'm sure it probably didn't move as quickly as you might have liked, but I know that there's been a lot of due diligence on the part of many people to get us to this point, but I appreciate your effort and your concern for your district and really moving this forward as quickly as possible. I think Northwestern Energy are heroes in this, and I also agree the personnel that's kept the plant running safely. The one gentleman, I'm sorry I didn't catch his name, but the one gentleman that's been there, that's stayed and been operating the plant, reserves our commendation. And I want to be sure that whatever happens in this process, that he is taken care of and properly compensated for the work that he's been performing, even though there hasn't been an employer paying his paycheck. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I thank you, and I wholeheartedly support the motion and look forward to seeing this get resolved as quickly as possible for the people of Winifred.
Thank you, Commissioner Fielder. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion passes 4-0, one abstaining. With that, for the record, the time is 10:42 and the date is May 5th, 2022. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.